All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really frustrating financial phenomenon, wealth drain. But we're looking at it through a pretty surprising lens, clinical Vedic horoscopy. Now, whether you see astrology as absolute spiritual truth or just a super fascinating psychological framework, you've got to admit, the source materials we're looking at today offer a uniquely systematic way of diagnosing why your money sometimes seems to just, poof, vanish.
We're starting our diagnosis with a symptom that is honestly way too common. You probably know high-income earners, heck, maybe you are one, who get those consistent raises, the lucrative equity bonuses, the whole 9 yards. Yet, somehow, they're living month to month with virtually zero liquid savings. It's totally baffling, right? I mean, how is it possible to earn so much but actually keep so little?
Yeah, conventional financial advice usually just points the finger at behavioral failures, right? Like poor budgeting or crazy lifestyle inflation. But the source material takes a totally different angle. It frames this chronic wealth leakage not as a lack of willpower, but as a structural, cosmic friction right there in a natal birth chart. So we're not talking about impulse buying here. In Vedic mechanics, this is literally treated like a compromised hydraulic valve inside your astrological financial system.
Okay, moving on to Section 1, Cosmic Wealth Anatomy. Let's look at this multi-stage closed loop.
According to the texts, wealth isn't just a single static number like your annual salary. It's actually a closed loop governed by the balance of two opposing forces. On one side, you have the second house. This is the vault. Its entire job is to capture incoming liquid capital, build up reserves, and resist those impulse buys. But on the flip side, you have the 12th house, the drain. This house represents capital dissolution and involuntary structural outflow. So if your 12th house is overly energized, your financial ecosystem is essentially a vaulted titanium door, but with a totally sheared hinge. The money flows in, sure, but it just continuously drains right back out through uncontrollable liabilities.
All right, that brings us to Section 2, Diagnosing the Leakage. Let's dig into some specific chart patterns.
So how exactly do these cosmic leaks actually manifest in real life? Well, the sources map out specific planetary placements that mathematically guarantee this continuous outflow. For instance, imagine the ruling planet of your second house of savings is sitting right there in your 12th house of loss. What happens? Savings are automatically routed into expenditures. It's like the exact second a bonus clears into your checking account, a real-world obligation magically materializes to claim that exact sum. Wild, right? Or say Rahu is occupying the 12th house. Then the drain happens through speculative illusions. We're talking massive losses in crypto, options trading, or just obsessive status spending.
And here's where it gets really interesting. In this system, those unexpected monthly expenses aren't just written off as random bad luck. Nope. They are viewed as specific planetary frequencies, literally discharging karmic debt through financial liquidation. So if Mars is the planet afflicting your chart, the leak is going to be physical and urgent. Think your HVAC suddenly dies in the middle of winter, or you get into a car wreck. If it's Rahu, the leak is digital and deceptive. Stuff like cyber phishing, subscription traps, or altcoin crashes. And if it's the Sun or Jupiter, you can expect the drain to come from statutory authorities. We're talking tax audits, legal compliance penalties, or maybe even covering the costs of an adult dependent's academic failures.
Moving right along to Section 3, the shadow planet Ketu. To truly grasp this diagnostic framework, we've got to zoom in on what I think is one of the absolute most fascinating astrological suspects in our sources. There's this quote from the text that just perfectly nails the paradox of Ketu. It says, "Ketu gives when you release, making you rich in detachment but broke in savings." It's this intense karmic influence that brings incredible insight, but actively strips away material stability. You see, in Vedic astrology, Ketu, which is also known as the South Node, is described as a headless shadow planet, and that symbolism is absolutely crucial. Having a body but literally no head means the soul already possesses the memory of an experience. It has the ability, but it completely lacks the ordinary worldly hunger that drives ambition. Ketu isn't out there saying, "I want more." Ketu is saying, "I've already seen this." It completely removes the illusion that material things are going to somehow complete you.
So what happens when this completely detached, headless energy sets up shop in your second house of liquid banking? The result is profound psychological apathy. People with Ketu in the second house often experience just zero interest in checking their bank balances or tracking their spending. The wealth drain here isn't some fiery, urgent emergency. No, it's an invisible, steady drip of capital wastage. We're talking thousands of dollars lost every single year just through sheer financial blindness. The unmonitored auto renewals, the random bank fees, and just this overarching feeling that accounting is way too heavy a burden to deal with. All right, let's get into the solutions. Section 4, Vedic Financial Engineering. Time to plug that cosmic drain.
Now that we've diagnosed the symptoms and looked at the anatomy of the leak, it's time for the treatment plan. And the sources offer this fascinating system called Vedic Financial Engineering. Look, conventional budgeting apps are going to fail you if you have a structural astrological leak, simply because that capital absolutely must leave your immediate banking ecosystem. There's no stopping it. So, to counteract this, the sources prescribe 3 core actionable steps to essentially, hack the cosmic hydraulic system.
Okay, remedy number 1, willful 12th house activation, also known as the lockup strategy. And honestly, the logic here is just brilliant in its pragmatism. The 12th house actively demands that your capital be displaced, so you beat it to the punch. By voluntarily routing a fixed percentage of your income into foreign currencies, offshore index funds, or highly illiquid stuff like long-dated treasury bonds or physical gold in a safety deposit box, you are intentionally satisfying the 12th house's appetite. You're giving it the displacement it wants before a disastrous emergency strikes to take that money involuntarily.
That brings us to the second remedy, the law of Sewa, which is basically planned philanthropy. The texts argue that these malefic planets are demanding a karmic payment, full stop, and if you don't pay up voluntarily, the energy is going to extract it involuntarily. Think hospital deductibles, litigation, sudden property damage, literal financial firefighting. But by setting up a disciplined, monthly charitable donation schedule, you're transforming those stressful, forced expenditures into voluntary, spiritually meritorious charity. You are quite literally immunizing your bank account.
But here's the catch. This charity isn't just random giving. It has to be highly targeted based on the exact planet that's afflicting you. So if Mars is the one draining your wealth with physical emergencies, the prescription is to donate to burn units, emergency surgical funds, or veterans specifically on Tuesdays. If Rahu is the culprit behind those crazy crypto losses, you donate to tech literacy programs or animal shelters on Saturdays. It's like you're paying the exact specific planetary toll booth required to stop the leak. And finally, we have the third prescription, acoustic frequency fortification. This one is all about structural reinforcement. You identify the ruling planet of your natal second house, and then you chant its classical Vedic Bij mantra exactly 108 times daily, ideally during Brahma Muhurta or solar noon. So, for example, if the sun rules your second house, you chant its specific frequency to build up authoritative cash retention. In this framework, this is viewed as a very real way of fortifying the structural integrity of your whole financial aura.
Which leads us right into Section 5, the final diagnosis.
So we've walked through the anatomy of a leak, we've diagnosed the specific planetary culprits, and we've explored the exact Vedic engineering required to fix it. Now, whether you view all of this as ancient spiritual wisdom detailing literal cosmic laws, or maybe you just see it as a really cool, highly structured psychological framework for forced savings, the takeaway here is incredibly powerful. The question is, will you just continue to let your wealth drain involuntarily? Or will you start using this kind of financial engineering to intentionally structure the flow of your resources and finally master the mechanics of your own vault?